What's up, dude?
Yo,
How you doing?
can you hear me?
I can hear you. How you doing, man?
I'm all right.
Oh shit, I gotta turn my music off. The Final Fantasy stuff. Okay, we're good. Yeah, you doing good? You're doing all right. That's good. I mean, I would
I
say
played
B2.
all day.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely dog shit.
Don't ever say that about yourself. You're amazing, and you know it.
Oh,
Greg,
my,
don't be
my
too
heart.
don't be too hard on yourself, Greg. Hmm.
I can't win a game.
What? Just remember when anyone asks you, if you play StarCraft, and if you say yes, and then they go, "What's your name?" and you say Greg, and then you just say, "Oh, if you don't know Greg, oh Idra." Yeah, it's me. I'm Idra. It's where you wonder where I've been. This is me. It's where I've been.
I'm just
There you
terrible
go.
now.
Just take his ID. He's gone. Uh, no, but anyways, yeah. So what are we working with today? What league are we talking about, or in, what race are you playing as nowadays?
Uh, uh, well, I'm platinum one Zerg, but I can't win a game, so I kind of got frustrated with it, and I played Protoss today, and I'm diamond three on that on my other account. But let's just do Zerg because it's the only one that I really am not like complete horseshit at.
So he's Diamond Zerg.
No, Plat one Zerg.
Okay. Wait, did you say you're Diamond something else though?
Yeah, my Protoss on. I started
Like
another
what?
account.
You're saying your Protoss is Diamond and your Zerg is Plat, but you think your Protoss is worse than you? Like my Protoss is horse shit. Let's do my Zerg.
I just like do like 3 gate robo all in all the time.
Okay,
So
okay, sure. You're one of the lows guys.
yeah, I just get I just get mad and I can't win a game like a normal way. So I just play like an asshole.
No, it's all good. All right, we can do Zerg. I mean, I'm totally down. I love doing Zerg lessons. So, in Platinum, do you have any preferred playstyles you'd like to go for? I will give you a disclaimer though, really fast. My doctor's recommendation for you is to not do too much more than you can handle. I think that if you try to multitask too much, you're going to make the game harder than it has to be for yourself, and it's going to make you fall apart. That's why I made the cutoff Diamond League for people to do B2GM series, because I was like, you need to be able to macro at least to Diamond for you to have any chance if you want to try to multitask. But just with that being said, I will gladly still do any lesson you want to do. So if you actually had, like, let's say you're trying to do like a Ling Bane build or like a Muta build or whatever, we can definitely go down that road, and I'll help you as much as I can. But that is my disclaimer before we jump into it, to make sure that's how I feel about things for you, to give you the best like success. So what's your kind of style you think overall?
Like Roach Hydra slash if it's Terran, I've been trying to do like Ling Bane Hydra, and I've just been dying to like the parades. So and then like ZVZ, I just like I'm a cheeser in ZVZ because I just can't handle it.
Okay. So I already have. So okay. Do you want help in all three matchups, or do you want to focus on one? Because the way it's kind of sounding, I could give you a quick like rundown of all three, but we definitely wouldn't fully break one down. Right. But I could give you like an emulated order to copy, where you give me like an idea how you like playing the game, you like your preferred style. Then I can give you a build that would suit the style like that you could emulate.
Yeah, I'm kind of like a free flowing. I'm not like I
you're
don't study build orders or anything like that. You know what I
you're a
mean?
snowflake, Zerg.
That's right. I just kind of. That's why I lose. That's why I lose a shit ton.
No, it's all good. Okay, so here's what we can do. Okay, I'll actually let's do like a this will be like kind of like a jack of all trades lesson, where I can give you a quick rundown of all three. Zerg will definitely be the fastest. Zerg versus Zerg build is super easy, and it goes right into the realm of you enjoying Roach Hydra. You can do Roach Hydra out of the build I can show you. It's very similar to B2GM, but I can show you how to rotate it into aggression, and I can show you how to turn it into something that can potentially be very fucking cheesy if you want it to be. Otherwise, it can be something that can be macro oriented, and they look almost identical. So I guess for this one, or for this lesson, if you're not already on StarCraft, hop on and we can make a party, and then I'll
I'm on.
okay. Are you in the group chat? The Viber? Or you can just type this, like look at Discord and just type this. Type this right here without the period. Just join Vibu. I can just grab you super easy if you join that channel. And so you don't have to like do the whole group chat thing, which is a process.
My keyboard is making characters instead of...
Alt tab. Try alt tabbing twice. And if that doesn't work, I'll give you another idea.
That's okay. I'll just reopen the game.
Okay. That works too.
So, like, am I just going to, like, share screen and you're going to watch how terrible I am, or...?
No. I'm going to give you guides. I'm going to give you examples. So, you'll see me do an example for you, and then I want you to ask me questions if you have any during it. But I want to give you, like, specific to your gameplay, like, 3 replays, 1 per matchup, that would help you have an idea how the fuck you want to play the matchup for Zerg.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to lie, there's 2 ways to coach somebody, okay? There's one way where you coach somebody priorities. This is my opinion of coaching. You coach someone priorities, which means that person needs to be willing to follow your, like, it's like B2GM. That's a priority kind of person to coach. Like, I'm like, okay, do this one thing every game and always do it. Don't ever change it. You need to know how to do this so much that, like, you make it like muscle memory and it's just ingrained in your fucking brain. The other way to coach someone is build orders. Those are the people that are like you, that are like, I kind of just do whatever. I kind of like do Link Bane here. I go Roach Hydra there. I do different things against different races. If you're that kind of a player, you should be a build order player probably, because you're not going to really do the same thing repeatedly, and you're gonna like be all over the place, and your shit's gonna fall apart if it's not efficient.
For sure.
That's at least what I think. All right. So I will make a game really fast, and this will be an example for ZvZ. And this build, it's only going to be probably like 8 minutes max. It's going to be super fast, but or like 7 minutes. But I'll show you. I'm going to pause it at one point, and I'm going to tell you how the build can rotate. Okay.
Okay.
And it's you'll be watching too. I'm not going to actually make you play me, so that way you can actually see what I'm doing and you can ask me questions. Yeah, it doesn't matter what the AI is. Just Zerg versus Zerg. Okay, so what this build does, what the strength of this build is it circumvents early game ZvZ. You don't have to play the Ling Bane phase at all. And then if the Zerg fucks around too long and makes too many Lings, you have a window to kill them. Like hardcore, like big time.
Okay.
And if they make too many drones and they're too greedy, you also have a massive window to kill them. This build needs to, you need to play like a smooth, steady like line in the middle for this build to not die to this build that I'm going to show you. Like it's, and I'll explain it as we go. But so far, simple, super. It's gonna have a very B2GM-esque opener, like similar to B2GM for the very initial stage of it, for the first like 3 minutes, and then it'll start to differentiate a little bit. So we're just making drones. We're gonna go for a Overlord at 13. We're gonna go for a 16 hatchery.
Right.
Just making drone. Super simple. Make my second Overlord go to the front of my natural. Pull off a drone at 180. There we go.
180 to the natural, yeah. Okay.
And now we'll have a nice, we'll hit right about 300 right when we get here, like really close to it. So there we go. And now we can expand. Didn't really waste a lot of time. And then keep making drones. And we're going to drone again to 18 spawning pool. Similar, so like this, the opener for the initial buildings is the same as B2GM. So now we're going 18 pool. And this is going to make it really easy for the pool timer to not die to all inners. And I'll explain how to not die in just a second. So now we're going to pool 18 like this. And we're going to make drones again. And we're going to drone up to 20. So one more drone. And now here is the important part of the game, okay? This is really important. Right now, I'm going to pause it. Or I didn't pause it. Shit. Okay. So in a second here, you're going to have to unpause it for me because I made you a referee, actually. And only referees can unpause a game, but it's fine. Anyways, right now, when you hit 20 supply, okay? This is really important because if you're anyone out there who goes, man, I fucking hate 12 pools. I always die. It sucks. I can't ever beat that shit. Like, I always die to all-ins in ZvZ. Right now is the magic moment in the game. If you stop making your larva right at 1 minute and 30 seconds, right at 20 supply, all I want you to do for this build is I want you to make a gas. Just one gas. And then never touch your larva again for a little while. Just stop spinning your larva. Because what you're going to have, anyways, is oversaturation. And I don't want you to touch your larva again until on the clock it's going to say 155. Okay? And the reason why this, to explain why this is important, is because for the next 25 seconds, if you see a Zergling cross your Overlord on the map, that 100% confirms this dude went pool first. And if he went pool first, all you have to do to beat that is make save larva from right now until your pool's done. And at 2 minutes, you're going to have six lings on your main, because you're going to have 3 larvae that build up over the next 30 seconds on your main. And you're going to have 1 larva that spawns immediately at your natural. And all of this is going to happen right as your pool finishes, because your natural and your pool are going to finish at the same time. So what this overall means is, as soon as your pool's done, you can make 8 lings, 6 on the main, 2 on the natural, and 2 queens right immediately. And then you could also make a spine crawler in your main base. And then you could, when your lings spawn and your queens spawn and your spine's done, you can rotate all of that down to your natural, and it will make it so easy for you to not die to a person who is all-inning you with like 1 base ling bane. And if they are like, and then here's the thing. If this is how the game goes, okay, if the guy is super all-in, if he's like 1 basing you, if your Overlord that is scouting across the map right now gets to the Zerg's base and there is no natural. This is super important, and again, this is going to be a VOD, so you can listen to this over and over and over. So if you don't hear it the first time and it doesn't make sense, listen to it 50 times until it does. If you get to the natural and there is no expansion at all, do not tech to a layer, just make queens constantly. And then you could also make a Roach Warren and then make nothing but queens and defend your spine and really guard the natural. And then as soon as your Roach Warren's done, you could then slam shift gears into making mass roaches and just do a fucking counter attack and kill them when you get a lot of roaches. Like, we're talking like a lot of roaches means like 16, and then you go kill them. It would be so fucking easy if you played like that. And while you're making queens, you only make lings until your spine crawler is down at the natural. And then once your spine crawler is down at the natural and you have queen spine at the natural, you only make drones until your Roach Warren's done, and then you make roaches and you go kill him. If he's 1 basing you and there's no expansion, it is so easy to play the game that way.
Okay.
And then that would be great for platinum, I would say. And now, so I can't really give an example of that because it's a detour. But listen to what I said, and if it ever doesn't make sense, come back and listen to it again. And now, if the guy is still attacking you with lings early, okay, if he's attacking you with lings early, and so like you see him crossing like right now with lings, but if your first Overlord gets to his base around 2 minutes, and you see that there is a hatchery, you're like, oh, he did expand. At that point, all you should do is similar things again with your Zergling. You make Zergling until your spine crawler is done, and then you stop making Zerglings and you move the spine crawler down to the natural. But the difference on this one is you do not make a Roach Warren first. You instead make a layer out of your main base, like right after the queen. You just make a layer as soon as you can afford it, and then you continue to make only a 3rd queen out of your natural, and that's it. Because if he's expanding, he's going to macro behind it, and you don't want to overinvest into crazy amounts of like defense and all-ins and shit. Like, he could kill you if he just makes spines essentially at his natural. So out of those 2 things, one is an aggressive response and one is a macro response. And then either way, you'll so if you're doing an aggressive response, it's just the game's going to end because you're going to go kill him, or he's going to defend it one way or the other. It depends on how well you execute it. But if you're doing a macro response, do your best to make the build shift into what I'm about to show you now anyways. So what I just explained is only if you're getting early pooled.
Right.
And that's important to know because right now is when you need to pay attention to that for the next 25 seconds. Okay.
Roger.
And then from here, it will just assume the guy's playing expansion first, which I feel like most of the time you probably will play Zergs who will not 12 pool you every game, but it will happen sometimes. So it's relevant to talk about. But now it'll be like if the guy goes for a fast expand and it's more of a normal game. All right, so whenever you're ready, go ahead and resume it, and I'll take you down the build as normal now. All right, so we have our gas going down, and if we don't see any lings, again, we're saving larva. We're not making an Overlord yet. We're just letting larva sit on my hatchery. And if we get to 155 and we have still not seen a Ling, just make an Overlord then, and then go back to making drones. So still no Ling, still no Ling, still no Ling, still no Ling, and we're not larva capped yet, and 155 is here. Make an Overlord, put 3 drones on gas, and now go back to making drones, because if we haven't seen a Ling by now, there's no fucking Lings that are attacking you really early. It's just not going to happen. And this is when you would see he's expanded. If this was a player, like playing normal, and it was a real person doing a normal build.
Right.
If you saw something, I will say this though, if you saw something like this, and you were like, wait, what? He doesn't have an expansion, but there was no Lings. Just make a spine crawler. Like literally put a spine crawler in front of your hatchery and just still go for a layer and still get your roach warren, but just add a spine crawler to the build and you'd be fine.
Okay.
Okay, anyways. Going forward now. We are now going to take our layer off of my first queen, and we are going to take our third queen off of my natural. Okay, so we are going to make an overlord, inject my hatcheries, make a layer, make a third queen, and then make more drones with my larva.
Okay. So you're skipping Ling speed in favor of a layer.
100%. Not even. Don't even give a shit about Ling speed, because this build it circumvents the entire Ling Bane phase of the game, which is why this build is super good for this build. I'm telling you right now, this build can still win games just like it does in Platinum, in GM League. Like this build is actually fucking very relevant even in GM. Okay, and now we're making we made all our larvae. We have our roach warren down. We have our evo chamber down, and now we're gonna take 2 gases at once on our natural, and then finally grab another final drone and go ahead and wall off a little bit here. Leave a doorway for your queen like this, and that's all we're doing. Now we're gonna drone all the way to 42. Okay. So if you mouse over top right, you can see how many drones you have, and 42 is what we're looking for. Now I'm gonna pause it one more time, and this is where the build differentiates itself. Okay, you have a choice right now. Yep. Your choice is upgrades or all in. That's your choice. And the build looks identical. It's really hard to, like, if the Zerg is good about reading your buildings, which no one really will be. No one really does that until you're like higher level. The difference is your choices are: do you want to get +1 weapons and roach speed, or do you want to make a Nidus Worm? That's the difference. So if you want to go +1 weapons and roach speed right now, that's going to be a roach pressure build that goes into a third that turns into roach hydra. However, if you want to go for a all-in, you literally, either way, you drone to 41, which is 3 gases saturated and 2 mineral lines saturated. And then, sorry, you drone to 42 is what I meant to say. Not 40. 41 is how many drones you have for the economy. You have 41 because you have 44 is perfect for 2 bases because it's 22 per base. But the reason why you have 3 less than that, and it goes down to 41 instead, is because you don't take your 4th gas. It's too much gas for going roaches right now. You don't need that much gas. So 42 drones is what we're looking at, because 41 is perfect for economy, and the 42nd drone 42, his job is one of 2 things based on what your build's going to be. Are you going to Nidus him? Well, that drone's going to be a Nidus Worm. Are you going to do a +1 roach speed auto attack timing to him and just run across the map? Then that drone is going to become a 3rd base because you're going to macro behind it.
Right.
So that's what drone 42 does. He's either a hatchery or a Nidus Worm. Now, we'll do the hatchery version, because all you would do with the Nidus version, it's super simple, is you set up 2 overlords on both sides of his base, one on the bottom of his main and one outside of his natural, and then you immediately make a Nidus Worm as soon as your layer is done. Don't make anything else. Like, make a Nidus Worm with the second you can make it. And then as soon as you make it, drone it, like I said, to 41 drones on your economy. And then you have, and then all you do then is you make overlords, roaches, and queens. So you you prioritize larva first though. Prioritize making only roaches, and also make your overlords so you don't supply block. But if you have any extra money at any point in time, make another queen to increase the push power, because you can have queens that can take damage instead of roaches. They're pretty tanky.
Right.
So you just make queens with excess, but do not prioritize queens. But you will make some of them sometimes, because there will be extra money sometimes. And then try your best to maintain injects on the hatcheries, and just keep making roaches. And then when your overlord's into his base and your Nidus is ready to go, Nidus is fucking base and all in him. And you literally just make roaches until he dies. It's really fucking strong. And then that's all. That's that version of this build. That's all it would be. And the thing that makes it scary is it looks almost identical to the macro version, which is why if the Zerg doesn't catch wind of you all-inning him, and he makes a little bit too many Lings, or he makes a little bit too many drones, or if he makes Banelings, he just dies. because roaches crush all of that when you do it like this. And it also hits before like mutas can exist and stuff like that. Like it's really a weird timing. It's really hard to deal with. So that's that version. And now whenever you're ready, go ahead and resume and I'll show you the macro version. I'll just set up the third base and then I'll show you what the initial attack looks like for you. And then once you set up the third base, all you do the rest of the game is either Roach Ravager or Roach Hydra, whatever you prefer.
10-4. Here we go.
All right, so we're going to take our Creep Tumor going towards the natural. We'll do the, like I said, we're doing the macro version. So set up my drones on my gas. We're at 42 drones, which is perfect. We have +1 speed coming up. We have our injects on our hatcheries. We're taking our third base right now. We need some more overlords as well because we're going to supply block if we don't make overlords. So economy is perfect right now. We can throw down another tumor so we can get some creep spread going on. That's totally fine. Get a hatchery at our third base. Now start making roaches. And we're going to make 16 roaches, okay? That's the magic number, 16 for this build. So right now we have 5, and we're looking for more. And then we're still making roaches, making roaches, making roaches, making roaches, making roaches. Okay. And we can spread our overlords out as well, whatever works, just so you can see shit. We have 11 roaches, 12 roaches, getting out to 13 now. Almost there. A couple more, 2 more, 1 more. Waiting for the last larva. And last roach is being made right now. Now, do not move out of your base. And ideally, leave your roaches kind of like where I am right now in case a Ling touches your wall. That way he doesn't see a bunch of roaches sitting like right here. Because you can, if he all-ins you, you can easily bring them up to defend the all-in. But don't let him scout your roach all-in. And then what you want to do is now behind this, you start making drones and you rally to your third base. And you take your extra queen and send it to the third. And now that your 16th roach is out, go attack. Now, priority number 1 would be attack his third base if he has one. Otherwise, if he doesn't, hit his natural. And behind this, make a Hydra Den. Or skip it if you want to make Ravagers. That's fine too. And then just make drones for your third until you're 66 drones. And if you look at my upgrades, speed's done with 16 roaches and +1's finishing red as I get to his base. So I have a perfect timing here that is going to hit him, that is going to do as much damage as possible. And you don't really want to micro this too hard. This is really... I'm going to pause it one more time to explain what's supposed to happen here. If you can straight up kill him with this, then kill him with this. But if your opponent seems like they have somewhat of a defense here, just threaten being annoying with this. You don't have to, like, for instance, if you attack, you're not going to kill him and then this is going to die. Don't attack him like full on, like poke him and back up. Because if you poke him and back up and you know you would lose because you're not making roaches behind this, he does not know you're making drones behind this. He has no fucking idea. So if you are conservative with the roaches, you make him feel more pressured and you make him stay on making units longer while you're making drones, and it gives you an economic lead. So play conservative if you think that he's ready for this and you will die if you engage him. Because some people will, like if he's like gonna all in you and you're like, okay, he's got a lot of roaches and a lot of lings. And like there's no way I'm gonna break him right now in his base. Make a quick round of drones for your third, and then go back into making roaches again, and you will outproduce him, especially if he doesn't have a third base.
Okay.
So I hope that makes sense, but that's pretty much the whole build. All it would be from now would be you would get level 2 weapons, level 1 carapace on your 2 evos. You would finish saturating all the gases in all 3 of your bases. You'd drone up all the way to 66 supply. You could actually go to 67 because 66 again is perfect 3-base saturation for all things. And then your 67th drone could be your 4th base. And you don't have to drone your 4th base. It's just for more larva. And when your main base starts mining out, you can transfer drones to it. And then you just literally make Roach Hydra, Roach Hydra, Roach Hydra all game and you attack. Or Roach Ravager, whatever you want to do. Okay. And that's the whole build. And you can literally rotate in and out the Nidus version or this version over and over and over. And both of them are annoying to deal with as the opponent. But the Nidus one hits a lot faster. But it hits without +1 weapons and speed. It literally skips upgrades and you just do a fucking mass roach, like, overwhelm swarm immediately. And it's really, really fucking hard to stop that. So, and also, if you play the same person multiple times, you can make them overreact and play super defensive because they think you're going to Nidus them, and then you just don't Nidus them. So it's a build that has a lot of versatility to it. It's super nice. Any questions?
Interesting.
Any questions about this build?
No. I mean, just have to practice it, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, people are asking in chat, is this a ZvZ build or can you use it against everything? I would recommend this is a ZvZ build. This is not going to be as effective against Protoss and Terran because if a Protoss or a Terran goes for a starport or a Stargate, they will shut you down. Probably. Not going to go super well for you. But anyways, we can jump out of this one now since just I would say save this. You can when you leave the game just save the replay. That way you have this, and also in the VOD pair it with the VOD and you can listen to it again. But just for the sake of time, we'll jump into the next one. So what matchup? If we can only do maybe one more, I'll try to do all three, but it depends how elaborate the build is. But what matchup would you rather focus on first? Would you rather do Terran or Protoss? Like Terran versus Zerg or Terran versus Protoss? I mean, you know what I mean. Zerg versus either one.
Terran.
Okay, so how do you want to play against Zerg versus Terran if you had to kind of like, if there's a way you think you could prefer like to play, or do you want me to make something for you?
Well, I mean, I've kind of been set in like Lingbane Hydra, but sometimes I win and then it goes late game. I transition to Broodlord, Corruptor, but I mean, you just tell me. You're the expert.
No,
I'll take your.
No, it's cool. Like I just want you to know that, no matter what unit composition you pick, I can make it work for you, because there are ways you can make a build work no matter what. If you're someone who has like a stylistic type thing. But if you want to do something similar to last game, we can definitely make that work for you too. Where, simply put, if you wanted to, you can totally do this, okay? If you want to make it super basic for yourself and make it really repetitive, you can take the build I just showed you against Terran and Protoss. Or, sorry, the ZvZ one I just showed you. And against Terran and Protoss, instead of making 16 roaches, you just make 6 roaches, okay? That's the only difference.
Oh.
You make 6 instead of 16, and you don't attack. And instead, you make drones faster. Now, that is how you would want to rotate that build into playing against both Terran and Protoss. And what this does for you, in a better way, is it makes it to where your mid-game explodes faster so that you can deal with the tools that Terran and Protoss have. Because both Terran and Protoss are going to have things like a wall, siege units behind their wall that are like, that doesn't necessarily have to be like a siege tank, but like they have units that have more range than you, and they're also behind a wall, so they're going to take better trades against you almost all the time when you're engaging like that with the other build I just showed you, the one where you do 16. So you're gonna usually take bad trades against Terran and Protoss, and a lot of times Terran and Protoss can also have air units super fucking fast, which can shut that build down entirely as well. So again, all you would do is you would make 42 drones, 41 for the economy, then 42nd for the third. You would make 6 roaches, and then immediately start making drones again, and then make your Hydra Den. And then once you're fully saturated on your third base, take all your gas. And then you would just literally you could go Roach Hydra from there. And you could do Roach Hydra all the way to max supply. And then that would be a fucking super solid way to do what that just was. So the exact numbers would be like this. So there's actually one part I didn't say that is really important. You need to know this. You drone to 42, take your third, make 6 roaches, still do the upgrades like you did, +1 speed, all that shit, just don't attack. Saturate your third, make your tech for your Hydra Den, take all your drones to up to 66 drones. You then make either roaches or hydras, or a combination of the two, either way, whatever works. And you make army of those 2 units up to 120 supply, okay? And then 120 supply, you drone up to 85. So you go from 66 drones to 85 drones at 120 supply, which is going to take you to like 139 supply or something. And then you go from that point on, you literally just crank out roaches and hydras the rest of the game. And then you just, play it like B2GM style. You just attack with maxed armies and you go. And a good number to remember from that point on is as soon as you saturate your 4th base. So another thing too is you would be taking you would start your 4th base when you start making roaches and hydras. Okay. So right as you hit 66 drones, start a 4th base. And then from that point on, always take another base every 2 minutes after that. If you can remember that, go, okay, well now I take 5th base 2 minutes later. Now I take 6th base 2 minutes later. Every 2 minutes in the game, expand. 2 minutes later, expand. 2 minutes later, expand. And if you do that, it'll make it to where you can always rotate your drones properly, and you'll have good amounts of larvae to like work with.
Okay.
And that's literally, you can do that every game. Every fucking game for that build to make every matchup easier. So I would say, if you know that, you have a solid build that can work with an example of how to do it, and have me talking about it, and also me showing you how to set it up in the initial part of the game. If you can do that, you have something foundationally to use the entire time. And so I would now say, if you wanted a stylistic build that is going to be a lot harder to do, like Ling Bane, if you want to go like Ling Bane Hydra, I can show you a version of Ling Bane Hydra that I think would work for you. But I'm telling you right now, that's going to be fucking way harder than what I just recommended to you. But we can still go over it if you'd like to.
No, that's fine. We'll just do the B2GM style. I mean, it's good enough to get to the Masters.
Okay, well, how about this then? How about I actually give you a full visual now for how you do it against standard Protoss?
Okay.
So that way you actually don't have to just like listen to the VOD. You can see your replay.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So I will go into another game. I'll invite you to it. And then make you a spectator this time. That way I can pause the game and you don't have to do anything. And then, yeah. Okay. So this one, it's... I'm going to take you to your initial max, okay? We're going to take this all the way to maxing out the first time. And then we're going to... And then I'll have the idea of also then setting up future tech for you at that point, and we'll talk about that for a second, about like what you can go into if you can't win the game otherwise.
Sure.
Okay. And then at any point in time, also feel free to ask me any questions. If anything doesn't make sense, definitely I'll try to answer it for you.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so same sheet. Taking our drones. Saturate our patches for the closed patches.
You're doing like F1, F2,
No.
F3, right? For the, no.
Or wait, you talking about camera hotkeys?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so sorry, I did that already. I was at the very start. I did do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I
I can't get my brain wrapped around like my fingers going to them.
Yeah. No. Well, you can feel it because like my keyboard. I don't know if all keyboards are like this, or they're not. But my keyboard has gaps between F1, F4, and then there's like a gap between F5, F8, and then a gap between F9, F12. So I can feel on the keyboard where the gap is, and I know exactly what key I'm gonna hit without looking at it. Because you just, it's easier to do the math when it's only 4 keys instead of having like 9 keys in a line. You're like, which one am I hitting right now? All right, so 18 pool is gonna be our boy here. And then 20 gas. Same exact build again, all the way up to 2 bases for what we just did last game. The only difference is on this one is you don't save larva at 130. You just spin nonstop because there's no lings to worry about. Okay, so we're gonna make our gas at 20, and then we are going to continue to spin the larva. We can make a overlord right now to make it super simple. That way you don't forget about it in supply block. Let me make a drone again. Grab 3 drones right now and put them on the gas because the gas is now finishing. Okay, double queens. No lings at all, just drones. Saturate or rally my main to my natural and grab that excess drone and put it down there.
Yep.
And now all of our patches have 2 drones per patch, which is ideally perfect. We can check it as well by clicking the patches, and it says 2 harvesters, 2 harvesters. So we know it's all perfect. And if it didn't say that, if it said 3 and 1, you would just go to the 3 patch and send one of the drones to the 1 patch and make sure it stays on it.
Okay.
And then we're just, our overlord can kind of chill now. We scouted whatever we wanted to see. It's all good. If there was no base there, you could always build a spine. If there is a base, if it's macro, you just can skip a spine. It's not a big deal. We go immediate layer, immediate 3rd queen. Don't supply block. Make sure we always have overlords ready to go for the next round of larva that's coming our way. So every time you get within about 10 supply of your max, like 10 to 15 supply of your max, definitely just get ready to start another overlord. Like that's a good threshold. Is like, oh, I'm within 15. Let's make another one. And it doesn't have to be perfectly 15 either. If you're like, oh, it was 17, or oops, it was 12. It's fine, just as long as you make it. Okay, we just spent our larva. And now we're going to make our Roach Warren, and now we're going to make our Evo Chamber. We're going to gap it as well, so we have a doorway that we can use here for our Queen. We can start our gases as well right now, right after the Evo Chamber and Roach Warren are started. Third Queen can now sit in the door. So right now, the build has been identical up to this point as the first time we showed you.
Right.
And then we are now going to drone to 42 like last time. We actually went to 44. It's fine. If that happens to you, who gives a shit? It's not actually that huge of a deal. Just as long as you understand, like, you should stop saturating it, like 2 bases. That's the big part. And now we have, we can now, against Terran and Protoss, I'm going to pause really fast and say this. You don't have to rush the third Evo as fast against Terran and Protoss. If you're looking to wall off your base. And the reason why is because Ling rushes are fucking fast. Like, that unit will hit you really early and mass of it. So you need to kind of prioritize your wall a little bit more against Zerg. And also the huge thing too is even if he's not a Ling all-inning you, a Ling running in your base that has speed that's designed to scout you will see everything if you don't have a wall. So it defeats the purpose of, or it like completely cancels out the whole effectiveness of what a Ling can do to scout and kill you. So it's really good to rush it against Zerg, but not really needed against Terran and Protoss. But against Terran right now, around the moment when you start your third base, fill it in either way though. The reason why is because if the guy's going Hellions, this will help you a lot at not getting fucking owned by Hellions.
Okay.
So 4 minutes or when you start third base, either way works. Or when you when you're starting to get ready to make roaches, fill in your wall. That way it makes it easier to defend. And we'll come back to that and talk about it in a sec. But it makes it super easy. But yeah, anyways, go ahead and continue. Fill it in. And we're going to make a couple of roaches now. We're only making about 6. And right now, when we're getting ready to make the roaches too, when you can afford it, throw in a 4th queen. And the reason why you want to do that is because your 3rd queen that's currently spreading creep is about to become a injector for a hatchery. It's no longer going to be a larva injector. So, or it's going to be a larva injector. It's no longer going to be a creep spreader. And you still want a creep spreader, so you need a 4th queen now, around when you start your third base. Okay, so we're making drones right now. We rallied the hatcheries to our we can rally the hatcheries to our natural initially, and when the third base is just about done, we can re-rally to the third base. So 6 roaches are chilling. Or sorry, if you're gonna ask them to go for it.
No, sorry, I'm
okay.
just.
Oh, no worries. Okay, good. It's all good.
Watching.
Okay, 3rd queen goes to 3rd hatch. Re-rally all drones now to 3rd base, and grab the excess drones now off that hatchery and send them to the 3rd base. And now here's how this works, okay? Leave 1 roach in the doorway, or your creep spreading queen. Either way, you could do creep. We'll just do creep spreading queen because it makes it easy for now. Leave it there. Hold position it. And now roaches all go to 3rd. And now this is why this is important to know this. You can now over defend your 3rd, and your natural cannot be breached by things like Hellions. So it makes it really easy to not lose your drones, which is why it's really important to get that 3rd Evo down, or the 3rd building in your wall down, which is the 2nd Evo, but like a little bit earlier than you need it still, because we're not upgrading it off of it yet, but it just makes it to where our drones are easier to protect. That's all it really does. So now what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to, from this point forward, I'm going to make drones all the way to 67, take my 4th base when I get there, and on the process of getting there, I'm going to take my hydrogen and all of my gases now. So all drones right now, and then we're going to take hydrogen, and then we're taking gases, and then we're taking 4th base. And then we're going to, and then from there, supply up at 66 drones, economy, supply up to 120.
Just dropping into
and then from there, we're going to take our supply, or take our drone count at 120 supply up to 85 drones. And then from there, it's just roaches and hydras all game. So it's literally just back and forth of making units so that you don't die if he attacks you, and then squeezing more drones in, and then making units so you don't die if he attacks you, or vice versa. You're able to protect the economy you're making. And then if you hit these checkpoints properly, you will always keep a nice threshold of supply higher than Terran and Protoss. Like, they won't keep up with you if you play like this, if you're doing it like efficiently, because Zerg can... This build is a safe form of greed, and Zerg can out-greed Protoss and Terran. It's just how the race works. So these are like good thresholds of keeping you safe, but also keeping you greedy. All right, so from now, yeah, we're going to make drones, we're going to hydrogen, and then we're going to take our gas. So a bunch of drones. Then we'll take our hydrogen, or we'll take our gas and our hydrogen as we go forward. We're still making drones, taking our injects, spread our creep, spread our creep, spread our creep. Keep making drones. Overlords are popping out in a second. Right now we're at 57 drones, so we're almost there. Injects are popping off here in just a sec. Okay, and then right now we are now at 58 drones, almost there. Getting super close. Saturate our gases. And then start getting hydro upgrades. We can take our drones in our main on the eggs we just made and put them in the gas. That's fine. And right now we're at 67 drones. So we hit the threshold. Now let's take a fourth base. Let's start our upgrades 2-1 while we have hydro upgrades going. And now let's start making hydras. And now that we have a new army being made, now let's take this queen that creep spreads in our doorway, take it out of the doorway, and continue dropping tumors down now. Because now we're getting to a point where we're making more army. So we're going to be just fine. Because we're going to have a lot of units ready to protect our base. And you can even leave some of your units on the left and some of your units on the right. That's totally fine.
Okay.
So that way, if like the guy harasses you, you're not going to just be like super out of position on one side. Now from here, we're at 120 supply. Our drone count is 66. It's going great so far. We're waiting on our larva to spawn. We have some overlords in production, getting ready to open up our supply again. Our larva inject is going to pop soon. So we are now going to drone to 85. So let's go to inject our hatcheries. Make a bunch of drones to 85. We're now already at 77, so we're super close already. It's going really fast. This is just how it goes in general, with how fast you can ramp your supply up. And we go ahead and take our hydra speed. Let's go ahead and throw down one drone for a infestation pit. That way we can go towards a hive tech. And drone count right now is at 83. It's just about there. Now we're at 85. If we take our two gases, we're actually at 87. Now we're down to 85. Okay, perfect. Now all we're going to do is we're going to make hydras and roaches until we max out. And right now, at this point in the game, so one more thing we're going to do. So if we've set up this so far, this is all we got to do going forward. Grab one roach on the right side and one roach on the left side. Scout all expansions that exist that we don't see yet, okay? So we're going to scout every base on the map that could exist, essentially. And the furthest base away from the Terran's main base is going to be the first base we're going to attack. For real. So we're getting a scout before we max. That way, when we max, we don't wait on it. We go immediately. So the next plan of action is going to be when the game resumes, we go into making sure all of our economy looks perfect, like no drones are oversaturated or anything like that, and we're going to make sure our upgrades are perfect. So we're checking our overall economic development and things like that, and our development of our build. Then we're going to check our infestation pit, and we're going to get ready to take a layer. If it's ready to go, we'll get ready to take, get ready to take our hive, so we can continue our tech with our upgrades to 3-3. And then we're going to, meanwhile, while doing those two things, we're going to maintain production with our larva non-stop on roaches and hydras. Pick whatever one you want. If you know he's got air units, I suggest you focus on hydras. But if you're not sure what he has, do like a 50-50 split. It's totally fine. It'll work. It'll be just fine. And then behind that, the last thing we're going to do, that's not just making units and making sure our build is running fine, is from 8 minutes going forward, because ideally we're going to be saturated by now. This means we're running well. At 8 minutes, we're going to start a 5th base, and every 2 minutes on the dot, as close as we can get to that, we're going to take another base. So 8 minutes, we're going to expand. At 10 minutes, we're going to expand. At 12 minutes, we're going to expand. And we're going to do this until we own every fucking base on like our side of the map. And the reason why you do this is because your bases already, as well right now, around 8 minutes in your main base, it's like you're going to hear it around 8, like a little bit after 8 minutes, mineral field depleted. Mineral field depleted. So like we're going to need to start rotating drones around. So if we can't rotate drones around to do bases, we're just going to have inefficient mining. And we don't want that. We want efficient mining all game. So we need new bases to send drones to. And whenever you build new buildings, remember this, replace the drones that you use. So if I expand and I take a hatchery and double gas, I need to make 3 more drones. and that's it. That's all we're doing. That's like the whole game. If you could, that's just you would just find out where the bases are, and then the last thing you would do is when you attack, you would go, I'm gonna attack the left. Okay, he's not dead yet. Okay, now I have a new army. I'm gonna attack the right. Okay, he's not dead yet. I'm gonna attack the left. And if he's dead, well then the game's over. But if he's not dead, you literally just alternate it. And I'll show you too. Like we're gonna make an emphasis when I max out as to what that should look like in your game. Okay, so because like a lot of people fuck this up and they're like, I'll wait for 50 seconds and then I'll go. That's not what you want to do. So I'll resume it, and again, right now we're going to be making roaches, hydras, making sure drones look good, and making sure our tech looks good.
Game resumed.
So we're making roaches and hydras. Tech looks pretty good. Injects look pretty good. Fourth base needs to be fixed. Fix the economy on that base. Go ahead and do a quick round of creep spread while making some hydras and roaches. Creep spread, creep spread, creep spread. And now we now can go, okay, cool, let's go ahead and start our hive. Next base needs to be made because we're at 8 minutes, so let's start a new base again. Let's go ahead and also keep making units, roaches and hydras. And inject our bases. And you can see our main base is starting to mine out right around 8 minutes, so let's transfer a couple drones down to my new base I just made in the bottom right, the fifth or the fourth base that needs some drones too. And we are maxing out in just a second. And we're maxing out at... Oh, shit, there's one thing I didn't do that I should have done. Okay, so I actually fucked this up, but yeah. We're maxing out, though, at... like, right around 8:35, 8:38, whatever. The one thing I didn't do that I really should have done is... the very first thing I said to you when I paused the game was, I should grab a roach and go on the right, and grab a roach and go on the left. And we need to find out where the base is. Because this is how you want to do it, okay? The second... your last units spawn out of the eggs, like the fucking second that they're alive, you are already now immediately starting to attack move towards his base locations that you're going to go towards. And you want to make sure you're not going to skip hidden bases that exist that are really easy to kill. Because the worst thing in the world you can do, there's two things you can do that are really bad. Number one is let a base live because you just didn't know it's there. And you go attack his natural where he's like super defended, and you throw your army away and you just let him have like a third base or a fourth base, and you just didn't know it existed. And it was so easy to kill if you could have just killed it. And another thing that's really bad that you don't want to do as well is you don't want to max out and then wait for like a minute and then go attack him, because all that you do is your power spike does not get any bigger than it is right now. 200 supply is the second those units are alive, you need to go, because that is as strong as you're going to be. But he's not going to be 200 supply ever if he's a Terran or a Protoss player at this point in time, because Zerg, again, scales faster than Terran and Protoss do. So if you give him a full minute while you just sit there, he's going to grow like in 30 supply, and now suddenly he's got a more formidable army to deal with you. So you want to be really assertive about when you move out like that. So what I'm going to do to show you, if you fuck this up yourself, I'll show you how to mitigate that. It's actually kind of fine that I did fuck it up, because I'm sure it'll happen. It happens to everybody. And I'll show you logically what you should do now to make sense of it, and we'll talk about it in a second. But yeah, we're gonna still be moving towards his base the second my units spawn, and we'll get there in a sec. So here we go. So our hive is started. We're injecting our hatcheries. We're spreading our creep one quick final time if we can. Get our queen over here, spawning a couple creep tumors. And now all the eggs are spawning pretty much right now. The last eggs are finishing. So now start going to the. This is where we'll fix it. Start going to the centralized part of the map that he is on that you haven't seen yet. So we know there's nothing on the right side. So our army's going to move up towards the left side, and we're going to confirm with our little scout here. Okay, nothing's in top right. So we're going to now rotate down the hallway that leads us to the third base. So this is how you can fix that if you don't see everything. You see what you can see, and you move towards what doesn't exist yet, if that makes sense. And then you confirm it with your scout that's still out there, if you actually do need to go to the corner or not. And then if you don't, you just don't go to the corner. And now once you confirm that he's not there, all you do from here is you go, okay, A move, shift A move, shift A move on the bases that do exist, and then forget about it. And go back to injecting, creep spreading, and getting ready to remax. And also making sure your economy doesn't get lopsided, so fix your drones on your main. And then keep your upgrades rolling, go to 3-3, stuff like that. So that's this stage of the game. And that's all that would be. Now, once you get hive, like you have right here, you are totally welcome to make, like in the main base we have right here, a spire, and a lurker den. And what you can do with those buildings is you can, I would recommend this, okay? This is how I would recommend to use either one of these buildings. And I'll pause it again just for the sake of the replay, so it's not really weird for you to watch when you watch it. That way it's not just like a bunch of idle time here. Yeah, it'll pause time for the replay. But what you could do here with the lurker den is if the game turns into a base trade, if somehow shit goes wrong and you're like, okay, he's in my base, I'm in his base, this is fucking weird. And I'm trying to remake Hydras with things that die, but we're base trading right now. What you could do is you could re-rally all your hatcheries to like the main base. And then you could, the Hydras that you make for reinforcing Hydras, you could just grab them and make lurkers out of them and then plant them and like guard your base with lurkers. Lurkers are insane in base trades. They're so good in base trades when you use them defensively. And that's all I would recommend for you to do with lurkers. Otherwise, don't bother using them aggressively. You need to kind of know what you're doing a bit more to use them aggressively for them to be effective because it requires more micro.
Okay.
Now, Spire is, like you said, you like Broodlords, and I'm totally down with that. If you cannot break somebody, and you're like on wave number 5, you're like, God damn, I've sent 5 rounds of maxed out Roach Hydra. Roach Hydra. Roach Hydra. He just won't die. Does this guy have like 15 fucking tanks or whatever? You're more than welcome to make like 8 Broodlords. Don't go mass broods. Don't make like 25 of them or something. Make like 8 Broodlords and have 8 Broodlords go in with one of your attacks. And it will, if the guy has like mass fortifications of siege, it'll definitely help punch a hole into the guy's initial defense. And then right after the Broodlord round you make, go right back into Roach Hydra, Roach Hydra, Roach Hydra, Roach Hydra, and just capitalize. But a lot of times you will win just going Roach Hydra, and the reason why is because if you do what I said a second ago, where you go left, right, what it does a really good job of doing is it breaks new expansions. And what that means is that your opponent runs out of money because they run out of money on their current expansions. And you can't make units if you don't have money. So Roach Hydra is a great like hammer you hit them over the head with that eventually breaks them over. Because they just can't keep up with you because they run out of money because you never let them expand.
Right. And you're expanding every 2 minutes.
Yep, exactly. It keeps control of the game through aggression. Because you just never give them time to breathe. They're like, fuck, again. Oh my god, this guy just never stops attacking me. He's fucking like how is he maxing repeatedly so fast? And you're over there just going, inject, make roaches, inject, make hydras. And meanwhile, you're like, throw some creep on the map, and I have like 80% of the map covered in creep. Because like, that also makes it where he can't even expand it. Like, what if, like, for instance, his 4th base, he has a moment to breathe after he just kills one of your armies, and he's like, holy fuck, there's creep on this base. I can't even land a command center here. So, creep spread's huge too, because not only does it make your army more mobile at getting across the map faster to reinforce your attacks, but it gives you control of vision and also of denial of Protoss and Terran buildings. So lots of benefits there. But questions about anything we talked about for the versions of the builds we just went over? You have anything on your mind?
No, I just got to study them up and put them into practice, I guess. And then we'll see you in GM.
Okay, well, hell yeah, man. Well, I mean, we have I don't want to cut you short. We do have more time. We have we started probably like 50 minutes ago, so we have like 10 more minutes. We could talk about stuff. I mean, I guess if there's anything you've ever wondered about StarCraft, or I mean, I could just maybe give you some more ideas about things that might be relevant to you in the future to grow. Like I could give you like a homework assignment essentially, like something that like maybe like a template or something. I guess that would be like, you should focus on this. Then when you get this down, focus on that or something. I guess hey, that's not bad. Okay, so. For you to do this kind of a build properly, okay, I want you to do this. I actually want you to make an effort to, from now on, I want you to think to yourself, I need to be hitting on the hatcheries. If you don't already do this, start doing this. Your whatever hatchery hockey you have, let's just say it's 5. You need to be hitting 5 SD every single, like 3 to 5 seconds. You need it at least once. If you do it more, if you do it once every like half second, that's even maybe more proud. If you do it like 15 times every 10 seconds, I'd be like, hell yeah, fuck yeah, this guy's on point. But because that would mean you're always catching it every second, like every millisecond it exists, you're grabbing the larva. But at least if you at least do it like 3 times every 10 seconds, like once every 3-ish seconds, it's still respectable because it's still enough to not fall off the track of like progression that hard. Like you'll be on point for the most part. Like for instance, if this is a huge thing to know. If I say, oh, I maxed out this game at 835, and you go, God damn, how the fuck does Vibe max out at 835? I can literally, my best is like 858. How does he do 835? It's because you don't spin the larva right when they're up. That's why. 100% that's why. So try to get in the habit of going make worker, make overlord, whatever. And then once every like 10 seconds, I would say. So it's going to happen multiple times every 10 seconds, and I'll tell you why. But there's 2 triggers that you should think about that make you do what I'm about to say. And what it is you should look at the top right of the screen and look at your supply and look at your money. And one of the triggers that makes you do this is you should do this like once every 10-ish seconds. And I want you to just make a gradual effort to go, okay, make worker. Okay, I've done that a couple times now. Check supply. Like every like 3rd time you try to make a worker, check your supply. It should be something you do like in sets of 3 or something like that. Like you should just make an effort to do it repeatedly a lot and just glance at it and just quickly take a gauge at the number and go, we're good, because you need to know. You need a reminder that goes make worker, make overlord, make worker, make overlord, make worker, because you can do it a lot. You're interchanging it quite often. So if you get that muscle memory down with your hands and your eyes, that's fucking great. That's super good at progressing you as a player. That is the best thing you're going to be able to get down if you just actively think about it. Like I want you literally, when you play games in StarCraft 2 for the next like 2 weeks, like a good amount of time, like I want you to invest at least like 10 hours of gameplay into just this. At least. Maybe like 20 hours of gameplay. Don't even think about what your opponent's doing. Don't even think about their build. Just think, okay, make worker, check supply, make worker, check supply, make worker, check supply. Get that fucking down as best as you can. And then once you start realizing that you don't really think about it as much anymore and you just do it, like it'll take it takes time to like get your body to acclimate to that. Give it like a couple of weeks. And then if you get that, if you actually start feeling like you're like, holy shit, like my hands are kind of just doing it now and I'm not even thinking about it as much anymore. I just kind of do it. Like it feels good. Then test yourself and go, okay, let's start looking at his build and like I'm going to try to understand one thing that this guy does. What is one thing this guy's doing in his build without having to look at the replay after it's over? Like it could be something as simple as going, oh, he's playing economical. Oh, he's playing bio. Oh, he's a Protoss player and there's a Stargate. Like it doesn't have to be everything. It just identify one thing about his build that actually makes sense. What is something that you can identify? And then here's the kicker that allows you to know if your muscle memory is good or not. Make an effort then to go back in the replay when you quiz yourself like this or check yourself like this and just see if you still have muscle memory when you do that. And if you don't, go fucking back to muscle memory and go make worker, make overlord, make worker, make overlord. Because if your muscle memory stops happening, it means you don't have it yet. You need to keep doing it until you have it. So convince yourself that you have it by checking yourself after you feel like you're starting to have it. Like give yourself a test essentially. And if you that's like my homework for you overall. And if you can do that, you will be able to do this build flawlessly, repeatedly, over and over and over.
Okay. So like I'll play for a week or 2 and then I'll do a replay analysis with you on the build.
If you want. I mean, you can do it for yourself too. I mean, like you don't have to do a replay analysis with me if you don't like it, because that's a lot, right? That sounds to me, just for this one particular reason, if that was all it was going to be for, that's a ripoff for you. I'm not going to lie. 100%. But if you wanted me to check your overall gameplay, that's different. That's fine. That would be more useful for you. But I want you to do this for yourself too, because I think it's good for you to test yourself and be like, okay, like, does my money, like, so this is the easiest way to make it make sense, to make sure it's not confusing. In a game where you're not looking at your opponent's build, okay, you're doing nothing. Like your brain 100% is your build, never anything about your opponent. It's all you. And let's say You fucking knock it out of the park, and you're like, cool. I didn't supply block. I always spent my larva on time. Vibe says he maxed, or Vibe's build example maxed out at 8:35. I maxed out this game at 8:39, or I maxed out at 8:42. Holy fuck! I actually like did it pretty much. I was there. Like, it feels great. I did a really good example of what Vibe did. Like, I did like pretty much what he did. That's when you know you're doing a good job. That's like the initial part of it, where that's what you need to build yourself up towards for like 2 weeks. Okay, so you need like your quota is, can you max out at the same time I did? And if you're not even close, if you're like a minute off or 45-second off, you're not ready. You keep working on it. You got to keep doing it. But as soon as you're within like 10 seconds of my max, that's, well, I'll give you the go ahead, like, good fucking job. If you max out anytime before 8:45, I'll be proud of you. That's you're ready for the next step. And the next step is do it again, but look at something in your opponent's build. And look at when you max out that time. If you can actually scout him and identify what's happening in some way and still max out at that time, do it again, because holy fuck, good job. But if you can't do it, really work it in again and muscle memory yourself up again. Like, make sure that you're like, keep trying until you can. Essentially, it's a never-ending process. It's hard, but that's a good quota for you to know if you're actually muscle memorying your macro effectively or not. Because like I'm telling you right now, everybody can do it when they only focus on it. Eventually, if you practice it enough, everybody can. But the hard part is being able to do it when you're distracted. And when you think about things that are not macro, you're distracted. And that's the hard part. So the way you overcome that is through repetition. And you just keep doing it until you can actually do it.
Okay. Well, homework.
Yeah, man. That is something that will give you a lot of time to work on. And always 100% save this replay. And save the Zerg one I gave you too. And come back to them whenever you're like, okay, I don't know what the fuck is going on here. Like, I'm just not even close. And I feel like I'm playing well, but I'm not even anywhere close as Vibe is on his max. Look at take a second then. That's a moment when you got to be like, okay, well, am I even doing the build right? Like, where am I going wrong here? And if you're like, oh shit, like I'm taking my Roach Warren way too fast, or my gas is way too early, or whatever. Like, you might be like just doing the build wrong. And I really just like compare, and like you can even listen to how, like when I break it down, make sure you're hitting my checkpoints. Spin larva as fast as possible, and do those number checkpoints I said between drone army. And if you do that right, the build will flow. So, yeah, you can always come back and listen to this. You can always use the replay as another reference to just like making sure your build is not like falling off the point that you're supposed to be on.
Well, I'm definitely going to start playing some games right after this, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, man. I let me know if it goes well for you. I love hearing when people are like, Vibe, after we talk, man, I got a promotion. Fucking great. But hell yeah, man.
I'd like to get my MMR back to the league that I'm in. That'd be nice.
No, for sure. I mean, if you do this, 100% you'll be diamond with Zerg. Not a doubt at all. And I think it's doable for you. Just definitely, it's a very attainable if you're dedicated to do it, stick to it. And I only see success for the next few weeks for you. If sometimes it'll be like kind of annoying for sure, but stick to it. Really try to just push yourself with muscle memory. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you do, this is only sorry, I had to cough. It's a habit that will it's a habit that you'll develop for yourself that will only be positive for you forever from now on, because it's something that it never goes away going forward in StarCraft 2. Like, you need to start learning how to multitask in Diamond, and it never goes away. It only gets more demanding the higher you go. So learning how to do it now, like really like pushing yourself to get a good foundation of it now, is only going to make you that much of a better player going forward, faster.
I love it.
All right, man. Well, good luck, and go fuck up some nerds and some ladder, and yeah, man, go refine that muscle memory.
What's that announcer that you use?
What's up? Sorry.
What's that announcer that you're using? That's my last question.
I use Abathur. Abathur is just Abathur sounds badass. And And here's another one. I would do this if I was not tryhard at all. But if you can actually turn your game into the Korean version of StarCraft 2, this is something Neuro does. This is something I used to do a long time ago, like back in like 2013, because it just sounded badass. If you use Korean Abathur, he sounds fucking super cool. Like his voice lines are super badass. Yeah. But anyways,
Abathur.
yeah, Abathur, he's my announcer. He just has a cool voice.
I'm getting tired of Artie, so.
No. What about Tasty?
Yeah, they're good. It's fun, but like list like so many games with it, it's like okay,
No,
the same lines.
yeah, for sure. No, I got you. I listen to them on Korea server, so I got you. But yeah, anyways, have a good rest of your day, man. Have a good rest of your night. And thanks for doing the coaching lesson.
Yeah, appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
All right. Later, man. Take it easy.
Take it easy.
All right, guys. That has been a coaching lesson with our duder, Mr. Greg, Mr. Terank. But guys, thanks for watching. I will see you all in the next video,
Game
whatever
resumed.
that might be. Coaching lesson or otherwise. Good luck in your own games as well. I hope any of this information that I throw out there helps you as well, the viewer, or someone out there that's having similar issues in their gameplay. But good luck. Go get good at StarCraft. It's worth it. You know why? Because the next time you play another RTS, you'll just be really good right off the bat. And you'll be like, wow, this is fun. I'm better than a lot of people at this game. It's fucking crazy. Yeah, anyways, good luck. See you next time. Thanks for watching. And peace.